Number 18, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, one of the most confusing campaigns in the series. When people talk about the greatest Call of Duty games ever made, Black Ops 3 almost always enters the conversation. Its fast-paced multiplayer completely changed the formula, and its zombies mode is still considered one of the best the series has ever produced. But then there's the campaign, and that's where things get complicated. Despite taking place in the same timeline as the first two Black Ops games, Black Ops 3's story is barely connected to them. Instead, it tells a completely separate narrative that's infamous for being confusing. And for good reason. Many of the missions don't even happen in chronological order. In fact, most of what you're playing is actually a series of simulations inside the protagonist's mind, making it incredibly easy to lose track of what's actually happening. It's the kind of story that almost demands a second playthrough just to piece everything together. Thankfully, the gameplay does a lot of the heavy lifting. Black Ops 3 takes the fluid movement and fast-paced combat from multiplayer and blends it into the campaign, while introducing RPG-style mechanics like cyber cores, customizable abilities that give you new ways to approach combat. It also remains one of the few Call of Duty games to let you create your own character. While that customization comes at the expense of having a memorable protagonist, it does make it easier to imagine yourself in the role, especially since the game never breaks away from its immersive first-person perspective. So, is Black Ops 3 worth playing today? If you're expecting a story on the level of the original Black Ops games, you're probably going to be disappointed. The campaign is easily one of the franchise's weakest from a narrative standpoint, and it was a major letdown for fans who were hoping for a true sequel. But if you can look past the confusing plot and focus on what the game does well, there's still plenty to enjoy. The gameplay is smooth, the combat is fun, and the cyber core abilities keep each mission feeling fresh. The story may stumble, but the moment-to-moment action is still enough to make the campaign worth experiencing at least once. Number 17, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, a lacking sequel to Black Ops 2 that focuses too much on endgame, not story. Black Ops 7 continues the story of both Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 2, which might sound confusing at first, especially considering there's a 13-year gap between those games. But from the moment it was revealed, the biggest selling point wasn't the timeline, it was the return of iconic characters like Mason, Harper, and Raul Menendez. On paper, it looked like Treyarch was setting up another mind-bending Black Ops story. Unfortunately, that's not quite what we got. The mind-bending aspect of Black Ops 7 is mostly reserved for its gameplay. Throughout the campaign, you'll encounter bizarre, over-the-top boss fights and surreal sequences that are certainly memorable, but they don't add much to the overall narrative. Instead, the game feels more focused on introducing Endgame, a replayable mode designed to sit alongside multiplayer and zombies, giving players another way to earn XP, unlock combos, and collect progression rewards. As for the campaign itself, it's perfectly serviceable, but rarely exciting. The missions are enjoyable enough, and unlike Black Ops 3, the story is straightforward and easy to follow. However, the lack of meaningful character development and emotional stakes means there's very little to keep you invested beyond reaching the next objective. Gameplay is where Black Ops 7 shines. Omni-movement makes traversal feel fast and fluid, while the weapons are responsive and satisfying to use. That said, the campaign has a frustrating habit of turning enemies into bullet sponges, making firefights drag on longer than they should and reducing the impact of an otherwise solid arsenal. Outside of the campaign, Treyarch once again delivers. Both multiplayer and zombies rank among the studio's strongest offerings in years, providing hundreds of hours of replayability. But the campaign never reaches the same heights. It lacks the player-driven choices, branching paths, and emotional storytelling that made Black Ops 2 such a fan favorite. Ultimately, that's Black Ops 7's biggest challenge. It isn't just another Call of Duty campaign, it's a sequel to what many fans consider the greatest story Treyarch has ever told. And while it succeeds in delivering polished gameplay, it struggles to live up to the legacy that Black Ops 2 left behind. Number 16, Call of Duty 2, Big Red 1, a gripping side story featuring high action and great characters. At first glance, Call of Duty 2, Big Red 1 might look like nothing more than a console version of Call of Duty 2. But it's actually its own standalone story set within the same war. Instead of constantly switching between different protagonists, Big Red 1 follows a single squad from the legendary 1st Infantry Division, with you playing the same soldier throughout the entire campaign. As the story progresses, so does your rank, giving the campaign a much stronger sense of continuity than its predecessor. What really helps Big Red 1 stand out is its cast, featuring voice work from Mark Hamill and several actors from Band of Brothers. Each member of your squad has a distinct personality. You spend enough time fighting alongside them that they begin to feel like genuine comrades, making the story far more memorable than you might expect from an early Call of Duty game. The gameplay is also a noticeable step up from the finest hour. Controls feel more responsive, gunfights are smoother, and the campaign mixes things up with a variety of mission types. From large-scale infantry assaults to vehicle combat across iconic World War II battles, there's enough variety to keep the experience engaging from start to finish. By modern standards, Big Red 1 is undeniably dated, but it has aged surprisingly well. The improved gameplay, memorable squad, and focused storytelling make it one of the series' most overlooked campaigns. So, is Call of Duty Big Red 1 worth playing today? Absolutely, if you have a way to play it. Big Red 1 is well worth your time. It has held up far better than the finest hour and remains one of the most underrated entries in the entire Call of Duty franchise. Number 15, Call of Duty 2, a solid sequel to the original. Call of Duty 2 is often considered one of the greatest World War II shooters ever made. Whether or not it deserves that title is up for debate, but there's no denying just how influential it was. Building on the foundation of the original game, Call of Duty 2 refined almost every aspect of the formula and helped define what the franchise would become. Like its predecessor, the campaign puts you in the boots of soldiers from multiple allied nations, taking you across some of the war's most iconic battles. But where Call of Duty 2 truly shines is in the scale of its action. Massive firefights, relentless enemy assaults, and cinematic set pieces create an intensity that was unlike almost anything else at the time. The game also does an excellent job of immersing you in the battlefield. Dynamic AI, atmospheric sound design, and detailed environments make every mission feel chaotic and believable, helping bring each historical conflict to life. Although the controls are beginning to show their age, they remain surprisingly playable, especially on PC. More importantly, the core gunplay and mission design still hold up remarkably well, making it easy to see why so many players look back on this game so fondly. Call of Duty 2 also laid the groundwork for the series' future, cementing its focus on cinematic action and large-scale warfare elements that would become staples of the franchise for years to come. So, is Call of Duty 2 worth playing today? Absolutely. While it's undeniably a product of its era, Call of Duty 2 still feels like a landmark shooter. If you want to experience one of the games that helped shape the modern FPS genre, this is an easy recommendation, especially on PC, where it remains the best way to play.
Make sure if you're enjoying our list to hit that like button and of course subscribe for future content.
Number 14, Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare, an innovative leap into future warfare.
Advanced Warfare marked one of the biggest turning points in Call of Duty history. It was the first game in the series to fully embrace futuristic movement, introducing the exosuit and completely changing how players approached combat. The campaign follows Jack Mitchell, a U.S. Marine who loses his arm in battle before being recruited by the powerful Atlas Corporation. Equipped with advanced prosthetics and cutting-edge technology, Mitchell finds himself fighting the KVA, a dangerous terrorist organization, in a conflict that quickly grows far more complicated. Unlike previous games that constantly switched between protagonists, Advanced Warfare sticks with Mitchell from start to finish, giving the campaign a stronger sense of continuity. Unfortunately, the story itself never reaches its full potential. The plot is fairly predictable. The villain's true motives are easy to see coming, and most of the supporting cast fails to leave a lasting impression. Where Advanced Warfare truly excels is its gameplay. The exosuit transforms combat, allowing you to dash, boost, and flank enemies in ways that felt revolutionary at the time. Even today, the movement remains smooth, responsive, and incredibly fun to use. That said, the campaign does have one frustrating flaw. Throughout the story, you're introduced to a variety of gadgets and experimental equipment, but many of them only appear for a single mission before disappearing entirely. It's a missed opportunity, as these mechanics could have added much more variety if they had remained available throughout the game. Despite the criticism aimed at Call of Duty's futuristic era, Advanced Warfare's campaign remains one of the most enjoyable from that period. It may be a little short, and its story is fairly average, but the fast-paced gameplay and exosuit mechanics make it a campaign that's still well worth experiencing. Number 13, Call of Duty Ghosts, one of the most underrated campaigns in the series. Call of Duty Ghosts is one of the franchise's most underrated entries, and nowhere is that more evident than in its campaign. When it launched back in 2013, it was heavily criticized and was widely considered the weakest Call of Duty game. Over time, though, opinions have shifted, and many players now look back on Ghosts far more fondly, rather than continuing the modern warfare storyline. Infinity Ward introduced an entirely new universe. You play as Logan Walker, a member of the elite Ghosts unit, fighting to protect what's left of the United States after a devastating attack leaves the country on the brink of collapse. The campaign gets off to an incredible start with one of the most memorable opening missions in the series, immediately establishing the scale of the conflict. From there, Ghosts leans less into global politics and more into the relationship between the Walker brothers and their family, giving the story a more personal feel while still delivering the explosive set pieces Call of Duty is known for. Gameplay is classic Call of Duty through and through. The gunplay is satisfying, the mission variety is decent, and the campaign constantly throws cinematic moments your way. It can become a little repetitive during some of the longer firefights, but the pacing is strong enough that it rarely overstays its welcome. So, is Call of Duty Ghosts worth playing today? Absolutely. Ghosts may never have reached the heights of Modern Warfare or Black Ops, but its campaign proves that even one of Call of Duty's most divisive games still delivers an exciting, memorable experience. It's an underrated story that has only become more appreciated with time. And it's a real shame we never got the sequel its ending clearly set up. Number 12, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, an action-packed and groundbreaking sci-fi story. It's fair to say that Infinite Warfare is one of the most divisive games in Call of Duty history. Much of the backlash came from its heavily futuristic setting, with many players arguing it felt more like Halo than Call of Duty. While the multiplayer struggled to win fans over, the campaign turned out to be one of the biggest surprises in the franchise. The story follows Captain Nick Reyes, who is unexpectedly forced into command of the UNSAR warship Retribution after a devastating attack. Tasked with leading humanity's fight against the Settlement Defense Front, Reyes must wage a war that spans the entire solar system. What makes Infinite Warfare's campaign so memorable is its cast. Reyes and his crew are among the most believable and likable characters Call of Duty has ever produced, and their relationships give the story a genuine emotional weight that's often missing from the series. By the end of the campaign, it's hard not to become invested in their journey. The gameplay is just as impressive. Infinite Warfare seamlessly blends traditional boots on the ground combat with zero-gravity firefights, space dogfights, and memorable vehicular missions, giving each level its own identity. The weapons are satisfying to use, and the futuristic gadgets add plenty of variety without overshadowing the core gunplay. Although the game's futuristic setting divided the community, its campaign remains one of the franchise's hidden gems. With memorable characters, excellent mission variety, and a surprisingly emotional story, Infinite Warfare delivers an experience that's well worth playing even if you never touch the multiplayer. Number 11, Call of Duty WW2, a solid return to Call of Duty's roots. After years of jetpacks and futuristic warfare, Call of Duty WW2 arrived at exactly the right time. Fans had been asking for a return to the series' roots, and Sledgehammer Games answered by bringing the franchise back to World War II. Rather than jumping between multiple protagonists, the campaign follows a single squad from the 1st Infantry Division as they fight their way across Europe. That decision gives the story a much stronger emotional core, allowing you to spend more time with each character and watch their relationships develop throughout the war. It's a more personal approach than many of Call of Duty's earlier World War II campaigns, making it easier to become invested in the squad's journey. Gameplay doesn't reinvent the formula, but it doesn't need to. The gunplay is smooth, the pacing is strong, and the campaign delivers plenty of cinematic set pieces. One of its more unique additions is the squad system, where teammates can provide ammo, med kits, grenades, and other supplies instead of relying on automatic health regeneration. It's a small change, but one that encourages you to rely on your squad and adds a welcome layer of immersion. The campaign also mixes in large-scale battles with the occasional stealth-focused mission, adding enough variety to keep things fresh without straying too far from classic Call of Duty gameplay. While it's a fairly straightforward campaign that doesn't introduce many groundbreaking ideas, it succeeds where it matters most, with likable characters, satisfying gameplay, and a grounded World War II story. Call of Duty WW2 is one of the stronger modern campaigns and an easy recommendation for anyone looking to revisit the franchise's historical roots. Number 10. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022, a solid sequel with a great story and characters. Modern Warfare Roman 2 builds on the strong foundation of its 2019 predecessor, delivering another grounded military thriller while finally bringing together a fully realized version of the rebooted Task Force 141. This time, Zob, Ghost, Bryce, and Gaz join forces with the Mexican Special Forces unit Los Vaqueros to hunt down terrorist leader Hassan Zyani before he can use stolen American missiles to spark an international conflict. While the campaign takes a few creative liberties with the story of the original Modern Warfare 2, it never feels like a remake. Instead, it tells its own story while paying just enough homage to the classic. One of the campaign's biggest strengths is its cast. The chemistry between Task Force 141 and Los Vaqueros is excellent, with memorable performances and plenty of banter that makes the characters feel more believable. It's easily one of the strongest ensembles Call of Duty has ever had. Gameplay also strikes a great balance between tactical and cinematic. Missions regularly switch between tense stealth sequences, large-scale firefights, and explosive action set pieces, keeping the pacing fresh throughout. Not every mission is a winner, though. The prison break level, in particular, includes sections that feel more like a top-down strategy game than a traditional Call of Duty mission, making it one of the campaign's weaker moments. Fortunately, those sections are the exception rather than the rule. The majority of the missions are creative, varied, and consistently enjoyable, making this one of the strongest campaigns in the rebooted Modern Warfare trilogy. With an excellent cast, exciting mission variety, and polished gameplay, Modern Warfare Roman 2 delivers a thrilling campaign that's well worth playing, especially if you're invested in the rebooted Modern Warfare storyline.
Okay, so that's it for today. So if you enjoyed it, punch the like button, comment down below, of course, subscribe to this channel for my Twitter and Instagram links down below. As always, of course, I'll put my two buddies first in the description for YouTube needs, tag titles, thumbnails, all that good stuff. So that's something you need help with, especially like I did. First in the description, download it today. Trust me, you'll wonder how you ever got on without it. And of course, our partner channels, and they hit down below, hit that join button to put myself and the channel, and of course get a huge range of benefits. But greatly appreciated. But of course, you never have to. But if you don't, you have to subscribe and watch the next video, or something might follow you home. You never know, stuff happens. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you all again very soon.